On the charges of crimes against humanity, the tribunal finds you not guilty. But we find you guilty on counts 1 and 2, and thereby sentence you to imprisonment for life. Admiral Wilhelm Keitel, guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
Defendant Hans Frank. The tribunal finds you guilty on counts 3 and 4 and sentences you to death by hanging.
Julius Streicher, guilty on count 4, crimes against humanity. Death by hanging.
Defendant Schacht. The tribunal has come to the conclusion that the evidence against Hjalmar Schacht has not been established beyond a reasonable doubt, and therefore finds that Schacht is not guilty on this indictment.
Quiet, please.
The defendant, Karl Dönitz, guilty on counts 2 and 3. The tribunal sentences you to 10 years imprisonment.
Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop, guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging. Ernst Kaltenbrunner, guilty on counts 3 and 4. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
Well, it's not a conspiracy anymore. You had the military, Department of War from the United States, directly go to a senator's home. And this happened from what I hear, it happened on Sunday. So you're seeing this right now. The Department of Defense, they're beginning to intercede inside of what's happening inside of the United States, because the deep state is pushing, for sedition, for treason, for the military to go against the chief and commander, Donald Trump's, what Donald Trump wants to do for the United States, giving commands to the military. Now you have these different states, with different leaders, different peoples from Congress, a lot of people pushing this powerful coup, to defy Trump's orders. So this is what's happening. Right now it's going into military records that the military did send investigators, and I think they went with the FBI. This is the cables that I'm reading, that they went to this senator's home, and his name is Mark Kelly. Now, of course, they're going to head to other places, but that just shows you that the military is stepping inside of all of this chaos that's happening. And this is going to keep on continuing. So it's actually happening, you guys. This is going to keep on growing. There's a lot of people out there giving you all the information, especially Trump giving you direct comms, direct communications. Trump has been going on this massive spree of where he's sharing the 17th letter of the alphabet. He's sharing that number on a lot of his posts. Now people are really up on this, because now he's sharing a post from Rich, this famous country singer. I think he's a famous country singer, John Rich. But John Rich shared this video, of the Nuremberg, the people that were sentenced to death. Trump posted that video. And then in the same time span, Trump posts of the military tribunals. And Trump is actually saying, how can he bypass the corruption of the United States court system, the judiciary system? And Trump, puts out the information. Military is the only way. So now that's coming directly from Trump, these operations. There's a lot of stuff that's really connected to things that you're kind of really unaware of. They're connected to executive orders that Trump had signed connected to national emergency orders, but it's also connected to the United States, and it's connected to the whole world. These are all connected to operations in different countries, and this has to do with crimes against humanity. This is an important executive order from Trump because this is connecting to what's going to happen with all the tribunals, what we've been talking about for a long time. As you see, everything's coming true. You know, there was a reason why that I wore this, because people ask me about my hat sometimes, what it represents. Yes, they do represent information. That's for other people who are moving information in different countries. And I had put this out. When I'm wearing this, that means Trump is going to go after this, and Trump is going to start to talk about the tribunals. That's why over the weekend on Friday, I made that video. You know, people thought it might have been an uninteresting video, but it really had to do with some comms that I was giving for different countries around the world that share the information. And I want to, well, I don't want, I'm kind of mixing my words. I had sent them the information that Trump was going to expose the tribunals. Trump is going to go after all of these things, and Trump's going to do this on the weekend. And my sources and my wires were confirmed, and that's why I was wearing this jacket. It was for certain other individuals in different places in Japan, parts of China, and different places, people moving information to show them that, see, on Monday, I'll share this information. You'll see that this is all correct about what Trump's going to share over the weekend. Now everything is confirmed what Trump is doing. Now connected back to these executive orders that Trump signed with Executive Order 13818, you know, it was signed on December 20th, 2017. And it says, a national emergency concerning serious human rights abuse and corruption worldwide under the National Emergency Acts. This emergency automatically terminates on its anniversary each year unless the president publishes a notice of continuation in the Federal Register to continue it. So this was created in 2017. And Trump continue it. You have to continue this every year. Who's ever in presidency has to keep on pushing this executive order. But this executive order, it pertains to the pandemic. It pertains to crimes against humanity. It pertains to world courts. It pertains to military justice inside of the United States, inside of a lot of NATO countries, and a lot of countries that the United States is working with, you know, inside of things that's going to come out that's connected over to the pandemic, the virus, a lot of stuff against crimes against humanity. And inside of this executive order that Trump signed, you have to re-sign it every year, every year, every year. The deep state, everybody knows that Trump created this because Trump knew the pandemic was going to come. These crimes with the vax, these crimes with the lockdowns, with all the stolen money, corruption connected to stolen elections, different countries, you know, suspending elections, election interference. There's a lot of stuff that happened to do with the pandemic, the crimes against humanity. So why did Biden keep on signing this? Even though everybody knew it behind him, the military, the deep state military knew about it. Obama knew about it. The Clintons knew about this executive order, that this is the executive order that's going to get everybody in trouble across the world. This powerful executive order. Why did Biden sign it every year? Why did he keep it moving forward? Now Trump has this moving forward. Now Trump behind the scenes, these are the communications. People are talking about this executive order, what's going to happen in 2026. So it's very interesting, everything that's happening, this powerful moment You know, the United States is kind of shaky. Then Trump comes out of nowhere, starts posting this letter of the alphabet again, different things. And now he's talking about tribunals. He's sharing videos. Now he was talking about that people can be sentenced to death over this, you know, for treason. And then over the weekend, the military, you know, they start interceding inside of this chaos inside the United States. And they reach out. They directly go to them, to these senators, certain people. Now they put it into the military records. This is all growing. This is all heading to what we've been talking about. The military intervention, it's happening. It happens. It has to happen in this certain way to where the military is now coming in inside of this coming powerful event that we've been talking about, this national crisis, constitutional crisis. The stages are completely open now for the military to come on in. So you got to see that happening. People are talking about this. Now, another important thing, I gave that very important wires over the weekend. From different countries, the cables, the wires, and the underground, they're running hard of another assassination attempt to be coming of what's happening. And that's connected over to Mr. T, over to Mr. Trump. So we got to be well aware of that, of what's going to happen. Then we have to be well aware of how powerful, intelligent the military is, including very, very powerful technology. So whatever happens with this coming event, the military is going to use it. And if everybody knows it already in different countries, and even podcasters know about it, that this event is coming, most likely white hats are going to take control of everything, like I've been telling you. They're going to stage this powerful event, and this event is also going to be connected over to different executive orders that Trump signed pertaining also to the military. But everything's coming together inside of this collision course of corruption of the coup. The vax, the lockdowns, the world corruption, this is all happening. So a lot of people are really happy over the weekend on a lot of this stuff, and it's getting interesting. Now, at the same time, you know that, well, I guess I should talk about this now. At the same time, these are the big, gigantic cables that's coming in from intelligence agencies. Is Trump over the weekend met with Hegseth, the Department of War, National Intelligence, and some generals. They're discussing for Trump to come out. And I made a video on this, that Trump was eventually going to be the president, the disclosure president, to bring out disclosure. Now, the word, the cables, is this meeting that they have. They're telling Trump, they're all talking together, that it's better that Trump, the people behind the scenes, bring out the information on aliens, on different intelligences living on Earth, underneath the Earth, and they're in communications with this. So they want to start to bring this out. So whatever they're doing, they're creating a timeline. So at the making of this video, most likely this is going to start hitting in different places of what's happening. So a lot of things I've been talking about is being confirmed. A lot of stuff that you know about is being confirmed. And this is all also connected to powerful executive orders Trump signed over pertaining to certain countries with this national emergency connected to crimes against humanity. Now you can understand why Biden kept signing those executive orders. No matter the military couldn't stop him from signing it. Obama, the Clintons, Bill Gates, nobody stopped him. That means that there's a controlled military operation that made sure that the signature got on there, that executive order kept moving forward. So that shows that there is military operations behind the scenes. And this isn't just all coincidence, the stuff I've been giving you the information. The reason why is that military is the only way. It's all connected to what was going to happen over the weekend. Now you're actually seeing it in the forefront with the United States military actively doing investigations. They're putting into the records, and people are talking about this everywhere. Now, this is something else really important. General Flynn, you know that, you know how the deep state came after him. Trump was considering him to run for vice president. Then General Flynn kind of got in trouble. The deep state, the FBI, they went after him. But the whole thing's kind of a show of what's happening with General Flynn, because General Flynn's working with Admiral Rogers, a lot of different operations. General Flynn isn't just some little general. He's connected to intelligence agencies at very high level inside the United States, across the world, different agencies. He has a lot of people they call oath keepers that he works with. There are people who are loyal to him, from generals, admirals, colonels. There are so many people that are loyal to General Flynn. What's happening? These are the wires. What's happening is Trump military operations are still going to go after the JFK assassination. What happened with that? They're going to start to reveal some things in 2026. They're going to bring out some other classified papers. They're going to bring out a lot of stuff. This could possibly pertain to the coming Trump assassination that's going to happen. The huge, gigantic staging event that's going to happen. And that's going to get a lot of people in trouble inside of the deep state. And it's going to show that the CIA operations are still running to this day, assassinating U.S. presidents. Now, General Flynn puts out a huge calm also on this, saying we got to get rid of the CIA. He's actually giving calms when General Flynn puts something important like this on his channel. He's giving calms, telling people inside of the military that are watching intelligence, he's saying this event is coming. Get ready. So while all of this is happening, there's a lot of panic inside of senators, Congress, American leaders, very high-profile elites inside the United States, CEOs, corporations. Trump is coming. This coup attempt, now the Democratic Party with the CIA and different leaders putting out this video to defy the President of the United States, the Chief and Commander of the United States, controlling the military. To defy Trump like that, the military is already taking action behind the scenes. There are protocols that have already been initiated. That's why they went out to meet the senator already. That's why it's already inside of military records, like I'm telling you. The intervention has begun. Now, intelligence, the wires, the cables is going to the deep state, letting them know, it's really begun. This is actually going to lead to real tribunals. So people are scared inside of Congress. So what's going to happen is people are going to end up, unaliving themselves. People are going to end up hurting each other, killing each other, to silence witnesses, to silence people who have a lot of information. A lot of people will intentionally off themselves because they're trying to save their legacy. They're trying to save their money for their family, and that's connected to their insurance, connected to their companies. They don't want Trump to take everything from them. When these tribunals hit the military, these operations, they can seize everything, the corporations, the monies, all the money that they have in the bank, all this estates. So it's no joke that there's a lot of panic that's happening. And this is what a lot of people are talking about. Now, this kind of pertains to MTG, Marley Taylor Greene. People think that she's just a blonde bimbo. She doesn't know what she's doing when she's talking. She doesn't really know this stuff. People kind of make fun of her. If you look at Wikipedia, they make fun of her. She's a complete conspiracy nut. That's the way that they created this around her. So you have that idea that people are pushing this narration that she's against Trump. She doesn't know anything. You know, she's not that smart. That could be the farthest thing from the truth. MTG knows Clarence Thomas, knows the family, the wife. Clarence Thomas holds very highly classified intelligent levels. He gets briefings, he gets reports, he knows a lot of stuff. His wife, you know, she was kind of spouting off a couple of years ago because she was putting out information on this letter. She was actually talking about this. This is the Supreme Court, one of the judges, his own wife was talking about the 17th letter of the alphabet. And she was telling people that, yeah, Trump's going to come, the military's going to come, they're going to find out about the elections. This is all military operations. And she was giving the information. Then she got kind of reprimanded by her husband. Everybody made fun of her. And then she got quiet. And that was rightfully so, because her husband carries a loud voice among the American people. You know, his voice can hit the TV stations if he needs to say something. It could go into newspapers. And his wife saying something like this could hit the media. And it did hit the media. But she wasn't just loony. You know, Thomas Clarence's wife. That's because Thomas Clarence knows what's really happening behind the scenes. And he was talking with his wife about certain things. And his wife was talking too much. But I'm trying to tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's connected to a lot of people who have clearance for a lot of classified operations, what's going on. I mean, just she knows a lot of people, and including Aido, the other Supreme Court justice who is friends with Trump, who work with each other behind the scenes. They do a lot of stuff. They even got caught talking before because Aido wanted one of his family friends, their children, to come work with Trump. He was something like a law clerk or something like that, but he was pulling high strings to put him into the Trump administration. The deep state got mad over this, and it went all over the news that he should step down, you know, that he's compromised. So I'm just trying to tell you the connections behind the scenes from Trump to different people that's inside of the Supreme Court. Then Marjorie Taylor Greene with her connections. Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking with Matt Gaetz. Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking with Clarence Thomas. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's making moves. That's what I can say. She'll be up on podcasts. She'll be making major moves. Like I've been telling you, you have to have different parties. You can't just have MAGA, one party, and then you just can't have the Democrats, one party. Because a lot of people will want to break away from Trump for certain reasons. Connected to money, connected to banking, United States investors, on what Trump does, whatever Trump, decisions he makes on an executive order, or, whatever Trump does affects the market, it affects people's money. So a lot of people will get angry, Republicans, whether it's about the Epstein stuff, whether it's about United States finances of what's happening, and they just don't trust Trump anymore. They're going to want to jump ship, but they can't go over to the Democratic side. They have to find a place to land. Like I was telling you, behind the scenes, Musk with some powerful people inside the United States banking systems, powerful investors. They want to create a new party. That new party is going to come slowly. But all of these people that seem like they're enemies with Trump, that were once friends, from Thomas Massey to Marjorie Taylor Greene to Tucker Carlson to Candace Owens, to a lot of people, they're going to kind of form themselves, formulate around this new party. That way, these people who are jumping ship from Trump, they don't go to this Democratic side. And then people from the Democratic side that want to get out of the Democratic parties, they're going to want to jump into a new system, like a new group. So that's what's going to happen, is a lot of elites, a lot of very rich people, very important people, because not all Democrats are bad. The voters, the leaders are really corrupt, but we're talking about very, very wealthy elites inside of the United States running operations, corporations connected to banks, insurance companies, the whole thing. A lot of them want to get out of the Democratic Party, so they're going to join this new party that's going to form under this new voice that's coming. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be a part of those operations. So there's a lot of speculation that she's going to throw her hat in the ring to run for president, which is most likely will kind of happen, because she'll have a lot of people following her, because she's going to push that Epstein stuff, the Epstein saga even more. And then she's going to be pushing the human trafficking, child trafficking networks, what's really happening. She wants to bring the full exposure. Then some people from the FBI, a lot of people will be joining her over on what she's doing. Then she could run for president. And as she runs for president, there's other people that will run for president. Then later on, she'll put her weight behind other people that are running for presidents. Eventually, these two parties, I told you, they're all just going to reunite. They're all going to come back together. That's all what's going to happen. But a huge different scenario is that could take place until a later time, because the military, even though the military is the only way, even though tribunals are coming, even though the arrest wars are continuing, you're seeing a lot of corruption, a lot of people being indicted. You're seeing this huge, still unstable event in the United States still growing, and the military intervention is coming. That election could be put off a little further. And that has to also do because the election of 2020, that's not over yet. The same thing with the auto pin. That auto pin, the corruption of the auto pin, that's also connected to this same executive order that I was talking about at the beginning. That national emergency, this crimes against humanity, because whoever signed a lot of these things that the president signed underneath Biden, whoever was signing through the auto pin, they signed a lot of executive orders pertaining to the pandemic in 2021, connected to Congress, connected to Senate, connected to aid, finances, connected to the vaccines, connected to CDC, connected to World Health Organizations. It's huge. It's massive, this corruption of the auto pin. That's what you have to be aware of. That's why this is all going to start to come on back. Now that corruption of the stolen elections and then the exposure of the auto pin, even those that could stop the elections for 2028. So there's a lot of things moving around. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and that is already happening, and all of this is growing, and people are really happy because Trump is kind of going on this spree all year long, constantly posting, and then over the weekend, talk about tribunals, sharing videos, and it's getting really, really interesting, everyone. So the ending of the CIA, this was the main subject that I kind of skipped on, but all of this is connected to Flynn. It's all connected to the exposure of the JFK, what the CIA did, There's operations, huge discussions that's happening already behind the scenes of the military, bringing the CIA just agency into the tribunals and to get rid of them. This is what JFK has always wanted to do. He was talking about, splintering them to the wind. So Trump, the military, this is what they're looking at. They're looking at a lot of things. The tribunals, they're already inside the United States running operations connected to this executive orders that's connected to the pandemic. Now we're talking about ending the CIA. We're talking about Trump coming out as the disclosure president, as you saw the videos that I was posting talking about. And that's why a lot of people are in panic. And that's why they know that the military is already doing investigations. FBI is already doing investigations. A lot of people are caught inside this corruption, and people are going to hurt themselves, kill each other, try to get rid of each other, all for money, all to hide the corruption. Or else the deep state is going to start, unaliving people because they're witnesses. So we're going to see a lot of this. It's already going to all begin, this stuff, which is kind of dark, the dark side of this fear, this panic, because it is true what Trump is saying. This is going towards people, the military, firing squads. This is going towards tribunals, execution. And it's not a conspiracy anymore. And in other news, the same thing, this event, assassinations, you hear that now. Macron, there's a lot of credible evidence from different journalists, Candace Owens dropping all the information that Macron's from France, the president, has put a hit out, a contract out on Candace Owens. And it has to do with the special forces inside of France. Then they said there's a person from Israel also involved in these operations. And now Candace Owens is putting that report out. And it's kind of stuff we've been kind of fearing because she's such a good person, bringing a lot of information. But behind the scenes, she's highly connected. She's become the #1 podcaster in the world. If these events are being set up by the military alliance operations through the world, then you're going to see this Candace Owens event grow even bigger and much bigger and much bigger. And we for I myself, I would like to see Candace to move on, to grow into this powerful figure inside of the United States. That's what I'm hoping. I hope that she doesn't just disappear like Charlie Kirk, whether that was real, whether those were military operations, very advanced technology operations. I'm really hoping that Candace can stay in the public sector and keep on moving forward. That's what I'm hoping for. But what I do know, like I said, is I was already talking about this. There's huge things to come between Trump, between Candace Owens, between the United States government that they're planning for 2026. This huge, gigantic, massive wave. And they're going to use Candace Owens as the #1 podcaster to bring out this information out into the world. So you see it, how Marjorie Taylor Greene, how Trump are acting like they're arguing. Now Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of a sudden, she doesn't want to be a part of the operations. And she's like, there's no plan to save the world. There's no alliance. She's trying to go out there. And she's kind of overdoing it a little too much. And she's trying to pretend, like there's no military operations, that everything is just coincidence that's happened. And this is really real, this feud. But that's what's really happening behind the scenes with Marjorie Taylor Greene, of why she had to pull out. And it's also connected in a way from the sources I heard that she had some powerful investments. She's with some corporations, companies, and that kind of went in a bad way because that investment firm, they're going to be investigated in 2026 and she wants to jump off ship. And it was best, and she was advised, most likely advised by the United States government, Department of Justice, telling her, you need to get out right now. This is your job later. Create this group that's going to connect over later with Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, like I said, a new movement, a new party. Go do that, that way you're not going to get mixed up in all of this scandal that's going to come. So she's jumping ship. Another thing that's really important is, even though Trump and BlackRock, it looks like they're friends, but this is kind of it's a strange, it's not strange, it's just I have to explain it in this way. Trump captured Palantir, that, the operations. Palantir now is being controlled by the United States military. Their CEO, he's put into the military divisions now. He's working with the military. The military is running operations. They're connected to all the servers, a lot of stuff. And this is all later for future tribunals, all the information that they're gathering, operations that they're using Palantir for. Now, the same thing with BlackRock. I already told you before, Trump has captured BlackRock. The United States military has captured BlackRock. Everything is going to go in a certain way. The reason why they captured BlackRock is because BlackRock is one of the biggest investment firms in the whole world that runs finances, money. It does so much things more than investments. So this huge, gigantic operation of BlackRock, they just couldn't bring it down, break it apart, sue them, different countries, this whole gigantic thing. It's better just to capture the operations, take over the operations from behind the scenes and make it run. And then later investigations will happen with BlackRock to remove the powers, to expose corruption. But it's going to keep on moving forward. But the United States military, the operations behind it, is going to take full control of the operations, even more of BlackRock. But they're going to expose the corruption that's connected to BlackRock, connected to the Davos Group World Economic Forum. And this is all going to go back to the auto pin. Who was signing the auto pin? Very powerful people are going to be connected to the auto pin. That includes globalists, includes people from BlackRock. So those are the real wires. Those are the real cables of what's happening with this auto pin. That's why Trump keeps posting this picture, keeps talking about the auto pin, because that's going to be huge. That's going to be gigantic. So very interesting Monday. But it's really important because since Friday, I was sitting on information. I was waiting for this event to happen. If Trump was going to post about the tribunals, if the military really was going to reach out to senators. Nobody knew about this stuff, and I was waiting for this. So in my last video, I was kind of dragging because I was more obsessed. My thoughts were more focused on what was going to happen during the weekend. And I didn't have the energy to really talk about what was happening on Friday, because my thoughts were to Monday of what the news cycles, what was going to happen, what was going to be trending, what Trump was going to do. And of course, now everything came through, and people watching from different countries, that I gave you the direct comms of what was going to happen over the weekend. Now everything is happening, you guys. So it's going to be a tough week. We're coming into a crazy December, and a lot of stuff is going to happen. Then the last part of the news is you have bankers connected over to the old people from the old Russian intelligence agencies. How can I say? Bankers, almost like agents, very, very powerful people, connected to the same guy, Putin, connected to Kirill Dmitriev, connected to the SSB, connected to old branches of the Russian intelligence agencies. They're already in the Ukraine. They're already meeting with other people from the UK. What I'm getting from the wires is they're already thinking about moving money around, transferring money. That means setting up operations for a new banking system, transferring money for different investors from different countries to start help building Ukraine. They're already talking about ending the war. So this could come really soon. It's going to happen really quick. As you see that Ukraine is flipping, things are changing. Zelensky is going to be in huge, gigantic trouble. The military is going to purge itself. They're going to clean itself. A lot of stuff is going to be huge. The Ukraine saga is actually going to get even bigger. When I say the Ukraine saga, we're talking about the tribunals, the exposure of United Nations, talking about the exposure of the pandemic. You know, this alliance between countries that's connected to the executive orders of what Trump signed, connected to national emergencies, and it's all connected to this auto pin. It's connected over to BlackRock. It's connected to a lot of crazy stuff that's kicking off, and they're all interconnected in this crazy way. And it's something that we keep talking about on this channel, but I'm just trying to tell you, United States, Russian bankers are already over in Ukraine, and they're talking to certain officials, certain powerful investors, bankers, and they're already talking about creating the new system. They're talking about the end of the war. So those wires should be coming out there that hopefully it ends in January, you know, before the end of January, the war. And then if not, it'll end the months after that. But so a lot of people have their heads up that the Ukraine war is almost done, and then the full exposure, the corruption's going to come out of what really, really happened in Ukraine. Biden, Obama, BlackRock, all of these different corporations. Then it's going to go back to your favorite person. It's going to go back to Epstein. It's going to go back to the weapons trade. Then it's going to go back to the CIA. And then after that, you know, in the United States, they're talking about bringing down the CIA.